Just two quick comments before I start my comments. One is I wish we keep the time schedule with discipline so that in future we achieve much more given the time constraint. Two is I would like to see more younger Tamil entrepreneurs in the group because I notice most of us are veteran businessmen, senior businessmen. So I think we should endeavor to bring more younger Tamil businessmen for this conference in future. Well, let me start off by sketching the big picture because the given topic was economic outlook and then the opportunities. Well, the economic outlook is pretty decent. IMF has predicted that the global economy will reach 3.6% growth this year. And next percent, we hope to have 3.7% growth. So globally, we are okay. But I wanted to sketch the big picture because if one looks at it, the 21st century is supposed to be the Asian century. And if you look at where are the big economic numbers that are going to come, it looks like it's going to be in Asia. India is projected at 6.7% this year, next year, around the same numbers. China is expected to produce about 6.7 to 7.1 between this year and next year. ASEAN is expected to grow about 5%. And then you have Japan now steaming along but improving to about 2% hopefully next year. So if we look at the big numbers, the big economic growth is going to be in Asia. So you see a lot of developments taking place. TPP was supposed to be a big driver to bring economic activity to the Asia-Pacific region, but unfortunately with Trump, it has a major Trump effect, so he has pulled out. But despite that, at the latest APEC conference and the ASEAN conference in Manila, TPP is going to steam along with at least 11 partners, and if that comes into effect, it's going to be one of the biggest economic bloc. Two, if you look at what are countries doing, well, China has embarked on OBOR, which is a One Belt, One Road scheme, and they have committed to invest minimum of $500 billion. And when they say they invest, I'm telling you, they are really putting real money on the table, and they are doing and delivering projects. Now, there is a strategic contest for strategic space in Asia between China and India, but despite that, my advice to all our friends is, if you see an opportunity with Chinese businesses, Chinese big companies, tie up with them, work on projects, because let me assure you, there is money to be made. So my advice is, tie up with Chinese companies, particularly on many of these OBOR projects, and if they do come and invest in your country, link up with them because I have seen them putting real money and bringing real projects into the country. Now, two, let's look at India. India is doing very well under Prime Minister Modi. They have embarked on very quick economic changes, liberalization, GST is good, demonetization hopefully turns out better. But the High Commissioner highlighted the ease of doing business in India. And when my Indian business friends complain that things are getting tough, in my view, it means better for international businessmen. That means things are being cleaned up and opportunities will come about for overseas businessmen to invest in India. But more than that, even India has got a foreign policy called the Act East policy. And towards the Act East policy, they're taking several steps. One of it is to connect India with ASEAN. So they are doing road projects, they are doing port projects, and they are going to undertake several more projects in ASEAN countries so that they can hook up not only with ASEAN but beyond. And recently at Manila, they had a Quad meeting where India tied up with the US, Australia, and Japan to form a strategic partnership in various areas. So you got India, you got China, and you got ASEAN. ASEAN is moving towards its ASEAN Economic Community in 2025. And the fast-moving countries like Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, Philippines, they are moving at a faster pace. Then you got the slower countries whom we call the CMLV countries, which are Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam, and Myanmar. But yet, we are looking at 5% growth. So cumulatively, if you look at it, with Japan included, 4.6 billion people, the top three global economic blocs, including ASEAN, out of 5, 3 are going to be in Asia. So there's tremendous potential, and everybody should look at opportunities there. Now, where are the opportunities? Well, some of the speakers earlier have already highlighted, but what I will do is I will just highlight some of them. See, in the area of infrastructure, ASEAN is expected to spend about $2.1 trillion between now and 2030. Similarly, India has got a huge infrastructure budget. China has fulfilled most of its infrastructure budget, but under OBOR, they're going to implement a lot of infrastructure projects. Now, that's one area that you can get into. But more than that, there are a lot of countries who are looking for infrastructure financing. So if any businessman has got creative ideas to bring finance or is able to put together finance packages for infrastructure projects, whether it's BOT or some other partnership format, there's opportunity there. Two, in the area of e-commerce, many of my friends have highlighted, but I will share, I assume all of you are PhD holders and you are very intelligent people. So I'm just going to tell you where it is, and I suggest you go and pick up the information and read for yourself. Well, one of the things that we in Singapore do is that we always form a committee. We like to form committees, and we look forward, what are the short-term trends, what are the medium-term trends, and what are the long-term trends. So we recently set up a committee called the Committee on Future Economy, which aims to identify where are the great potential in the future lies, where are the growth sectors, and what are the strategies we should adopt. So we have identified 7 strategies in that committee, and I think if each one of you looks at these committees, if not for our generation, at least for our children's generation, you can tell them pointers, what they should study, where they should invest, what are the business strategies they should have, what kind of technology strategies they should adapt. So for example, we suggested that you should become a place for fintech, for e-commerce platforms, for gaming, for animation, all these latest high-tech stuff, or AI, robotics, that's one good area. The other one is forming hub, whether it's transport hub, logistics hub, medical hub, education hub. All this presents opportunity, particularly in Asia, because we got the demographic advantage in Asia. India, ASEAN, China, and Japan has got a slightly older population. But otherwise, Asia has got a demographic advantage. So there's tremendous opportunity. I don't want to individualize the sectors that you need to focus, but look at these reports, and there are many pointers. And although I looked at the growth statistics for Africa, because some of our South African friends are there, well, I noticed for this year and next year, you're looking at 0.7% to 1.1%. But sometimes being late has its advantage. Maybe at the second half of the 21st century, the biggest developments are going to take place in Asia, and you may get the latest technology in Africa, so just be patient. But one of the strategies that we in Singapore learned is, when you are surrounded by adversity, when you are surrounded by difficulty, always do not be deterred, but be brave and leapfrog. So if the region is difficult, leapfrog yourself to India, leapfrog yourself to Europe, leapfrog yourself to ASEAN, leapfrog yourself to East Asia. There's plenty of opportunity. On that note, let me just conclude by saying that we can work together, we can identify strategies, and I'm quite sure many of the senior businessmen here can be mentors to the young Tamil businessmen whom we hope to see over the course of the next 2 days. Thank you very much.